morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy to see so many of you. That really shows us that you care for this program, and also you are excited about this program starting up. So my name is Risa Ginther. I am the Texas PTA Arts and Education Liaison, and we have Carrie Mays. I mean, many of you know. She's the program manager, a programs manager, and she is the backbone of all the programs and when we submit the reflections, all the magic happens at the office. She is behind the scene, and she is it. All right, so I'm going to share the screen. Why it's not happening? Oh, can you guys? You're seeing the screen, right? Is that right?
Yes, we see your screen.
Yes. Okay. You see my screen. All right. Okay. So let's start up. So before I start, I would like to ask just raise hands physically, or just to raise hand. How many of you are first time council chair? Okay, I don't see any hands out. Just 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so majority of you are the experienced council chair. Is that correct? Yes. And then, so this coffee chat, it's designed for the council chairs, but if you are local chair, you're welcome to stay, and we will mention about how the local works time to time, but your council chair will communicate with you if when you have a question. So I would like to kind of have an engaging conversation whenever you have a question, but I would like to make sure to go through everything we happening with. Everything it's going to happen in reflections program here. Okay, so before I talk about anything, I would like us to kind of revisit what the PTA is all about. Okay, so many of you are familiar with this Texas PTA mission statement. Our mission is every child's potential reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. And that's exactly what this program does. When we hear the word like this, you know, what does that do with the art? But as we have seen last year, many of the students use the art as their outlet, and they really, families valued on that. And family engagement, we saw it in front of our eyes. Those who have come to lunch, that you've seen the evidence that those students had many thoughts, and they voiced their thoughts through art. So it is very important that you are carrying on this program and encouraging local leaders to do the same. All right, so, and then many of you know this program is a really one of the oldest, I mean, not the oldest and longest program. And I just wanted to, oh, I have 2 of this. I wanted you to check out this reflection timeline at the National PTA. Texas PTA also have a timeline as well, but I thought that was really fabulous. So when you have a chance, I would like you to visit, and it tells you a lot about how this program has grown from the beginning of small program when Mary Lou Anderson's mom, just like us, had created this program. All right. So as you see, this is the chart from National PTA. Texas PTA it submits. We are the one of the large group that submit the reflections program. So I thank you so much for stepping up to be a council leaders and encouraging local leaders. So this is the second time around during the COVID. So we'll really have to make sure to reach out to local leaders so that they don't get discouraged or wary, and we can give them help. Oops, I lost the, okay, there we go. All right. And then the reason why I'm showing this slide is here you read Sam and Barbara West Elementary School PTA saying that uh, so that was really giving the students an opportunity. And how other people learn about reflection, a lot of times they learn about the program through different leaders. So make sure not only local chairs, but to talk about programs at the council meetings and so forth, and president and membership, and many people can reach out to the individuals. All right, so here is again the impact of the reflections program. So use also that we like to us to remember reflections program. Yes, it does not to do with art, but also it's a big part of diversity and inclusive and equity. So makes the reason being, first of all, art itself is a diverse. There's a lot of perspectives that we incorporate, the student bring it in, and we also including the special artist, and sometimes that's the only outlet they have. So make sure to remind local leaders to reach out to special education teachers, SPED teachers, the great advocate for those art programs and advocate for those students and families. Carrie, did you have anything that I'm forgetting to add by this point?
No, I think that covers it great. Pretty well.
Okay, so National PTA has a great deal about the DEI, and one of the things that they also cover is arts in education, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I'd like to show you. Here is some letter. It's kind of small to look at it. Let me see here. This is the commitment that you promise yourself, and then also school, and communicate with school, and that you want to run this program acknowledging that diversity, equity, and inclusion minded, the part of the program, and then how you want to run this program. So you can go and visit the National PTA website and find the art in education, and you can find under that, you can find the diversity, equity, and then inclusion part. All right, so let's talk about the program and planning and promoting. It's actually a perfect timing to start the Reflections program. I know some of you have been planning from last year when you ended the council level. So the resources are all online. We have updated all the information. So if you're not familiar with this website, this page, please visit the texaspta.org and Reflections page. Everything you need is here. Leaders resources, that's where you will find many of them. But let me give you outline of how this is going to play out. So August passed, we had launch in July, and we got pumped up and then getting ready. And so hope some of you have already reached out to the local level, and you know the local chairs, and some of you might already have done like a back to school roundtable online or in person to talk about the Reflections program. posters and promotional materials are again available online. So now it's September. So coming up 12 through 18, it is the National Arts in Education Week. You can utilize this to promote this program. So remind the local leaders to encourage their school students to participate in the reflections program. Every opportunity is the great time to promote the reflections programs through October. So there are different ways. A lot of times local leaders may not have a time and manpower to do so. That's when council comes in and just pre-made some PDF or a cute fun pager, one pager, or like a logos or something. And Tuesday promoting literature. Wednesday would be dance. So you could remind like, hey, there is a reflections program you can do every day, or you could just talk about the National Arts and Education Week, and hey, here's a perfect time to promote the reflections program. So, and then October promotion continues, but by this time, you really need to push the locals to starting, or if they are already starting, remind them that what's coming next. Again, October is the National Arts and Humanity Month. So how perfect is that? But again, we can talk about the arts and remind them. So one thing that the council needs to make sure is the managing the local level. So local level, local chairs, they should probably have a local due by the end of October, or the latest is early November, so that their judging time, they're collecting quality assurance and judging and finishing up, then bring it to the council level. They will have plenty of time, because due to the Thanksgiving break, the November is the short month. So we've got to make sure that they will have plenty of time. So we'll just need to make sure to take care of them. Right, so local level is having a judging, and the council level probably like to have the council due by early December. Again, December, we have holidays and the school will be closed. So we gotta make sure to timing correctly. So first things you would like to do is communicate your council dues right about now, so that the local level can plan accordingly. Okay, so council dues, then you will have, it's depend on how you would like to do it. When we were doing it physically, my district always did the judging even during the evening, and then next morning we had a local chairs to come and pick up the entries. Last year we did everything online, so we didn't actually have to return anything. And those who have submitted physically, we return it during the council award ceremony. Okay, so council judging could be right before the holiday time. If you want to wait until January, but that's really pushing the timeline to submit it to the Texas state level. So state level due is always January 15th. This year, I believe it is Friday, isn't it, Carrie? Is that right? So just if you miss the one day, it's going to be Saturday, then it won't get there until Monday. So you make sure that your entries will arrive in time. So state level, we are accepting electronic entries. Is that correct, Carrie?
Yes. We'll accept both physical and digital. And because the deadline is on a weekend, it'll be due the next following business day. So which happens to be the 18th, because Martin Luther King Day is that Monday.
Okay. I must have, okay, I thought it was Friday, but I guess not. Okay. You're right, it is Saturday. Okay, so this is not correct. Oh. Okay, so it would be 18th this year. All right. So, but don't wait until the last minute. Okay. All right. So you could remind the local level, they can start recognizing their student success from January, or if it's their preference, if they want to wait until the state result comes up, it is all up to the local level. But toward the end of the school year, it gets really busy. So I think it is best that the council level will remind the local chairs to start thinking about the award recognition through January. Okay, and then by February, again, if you have done electronically, then you don't have to return the entries. But if you do have a physical entries, that make sure that you return everything before it gets missed. Okay. And the council level can celebrate the students' achievement anytime after. Again, you could wait until state result, but that won't be until March or end of February. So once again, it's also depend on the facility you would like to use, availability of the facility, or however you'd like to do. Okay, it's always the state award ceremony is sometime in spring. This time, this past year, we did it during the summer. And then national recognition is during the national convention. So that's in the summertime.
All right. Before you move forward, I realized that we don't have chat option on this call. For somehow it got turned off in the settings. So if you could just jot down any questions you have, we'll do Q&A at the end. And then I'll also be sending an email so that you can reach out to Risa and I afterwards if you come up with a question after the fact. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, so I mentioned that earlier, so you would like to set the due date first. Okay, so so the council due date, that is something to keep in mind is that you will have to collect the the entries, but also the local has to prepare the advancing entries and participation summary. And the advancing entries that they fill online, it's automatically sent it to you. But you like to make sure that advancing entries form the record matches with actually what they are providing to you. So you might want to set the two due dates. One is the finishing up the advancing entries online, and then if they are submitting the physical or the electronic version of the entries. I am sure there will be many questions from locals, how do I do this and so forth. So we'll make sure that you will help to navigate, and then we will also help you as well. Okay, so again, I just talked about the advancing entries deadline, and then so even though all those guidelines are available online, it is also helpful so that they don't have to go all over to search for it. So you can provide those guidelines as well. Okay. We talked about Arts and Education Week again, and then Arts and Humanity Month. So September, October is a great time to promote, remind locals to promote the Reflections program. The tools are online. So you could use the posters that we have. I'm sure many of you utilize the school district printing service. They are the least expensive way to make the big poster. So that's a fabulous way to kind of encourage them to utilize those posters. The posters could be on, as you know, that posters can be distributed to our teachers, or put it in a hallway. So there are many ways that locals can do. Peach jar is a great way to make sure that the council information can be on it as well. Okay. Let me hear if you have any ideas or any suggestion that you would like to share as a council chair at this point. Since we don't have a chat function, you just have to speak up. You're welcome to do that.
Someone raised their hand. Amberly.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Hey guys, I'm over here in Plano, Plano PTA. One thing that I was able to do is put together a Google form in the order of the advancing spreadsheet. So when a student or a family member was filling out the information, it would automatically populate into a spreadsheet in the order of the advancing spreadsheet. It allowed for them to then go through and confirm, but I know that I've done it before where I've mistyped a last name or an email address with something wasn't right. But if somebody is doing it themselves, it kind of eliminates making mistakes or something like that. It allows for me at my elementary school, it allowed me to copy paste into the advancing spreadsheet and then just confirm those memberships were right and everything. But it really saved me a lot of time. And it seemed like it helped with a lot of mistakes not happening. But a lot of the schools chose to do that. So I just would send them a copy of that. If anybody does want access to what I created, I don't mind sharing that with you also to make for your, for your district if you'd like.
That sounds great. If you want to share it to me and Risa, then I can make sure I distribute that through the email that I send.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can do that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds great. Okay, anybody else? All right, so let's move on. When you have a question or you have a great idea, please share. All right. Okay. Here it is the leader resource that you can also share with your. Oh, some 2 hands are up. I did not see. Carrie, can you see?
Kara, did you have a question or something to share? Kara, are you? Oh, she's good. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So this page where you could also share with the local leaders. So this is again. Oh, Jeanette has raised the hand. Did you have a question?
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Jeanette Sears, and I am with Council PTA for Spring Branch ISD. I just wanted to share something that made it just a little bit easier for our local schools to kind of fill in the blanks on the flyers. And just would love to share a file where we took what Texas PTA and National PTA, the normal flyers that they publish, and just kind of added a little bit of fill-in form information to it and sent it out to our local schools that it just kind of drilled down a little bit more of the information and made it just another step easier, and would love to share that. If Carrie, I'm happy to send that to you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, anything to help to ease everybody's work. That's just awesome. So thank you so much. All right. Anybody else? Did we call on anybody? everybody? Okay, so let's move on and we
Monica
will.
raised her hand.
Yes, okay, Monica.
Just real quick, I did something similar, and I'm chair for 2 of our local schools as well. And I made QR codes that link directly to our online form so that it's a middle school and a high school, and they can just snap the QR code with their smartphones and then fill out the digital entry form even straight from their smartphones. So just one other thing as I'm trying to like match my level of technology to some degree with the kids at the schools. I thought that might be something that might make it easier to get entries at those levels. So that's just one thing I did. It's the first year doing it, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I love the idea of QR code. I also use the QR code as well to promoting high school student. One of the things I noticed was that during the COVID, we saw at my council last year, we saw a lot more high schools and middle schoolers participations. So it's just a fingertip away to participate. Reflections really help them. So yeah, anything to make it easy for them, I think that's awesome. That's awesome idea. All right.
Charlotte, did you have a suggestion?
Yeah. I just had a question. The QR code. What did the QR code go to? Did it go to like the entry form or Google form? I missed that part.
Yes, we made a Google form for ours and then put the link to that Google form. That's what I used to make the QR code. And I just use like a free online QR code generator to make the little dots. And so I don't know a lot about doing it, but that's the way I did it. But it was the link to the Google form that we made for digital entries.
Okay, so the QR code is links to the Google form that where you as a student can upload their entries. Is that right? Okay, great. Well, thank you. And I think there are many ways to use the QR code. That's really great that you can upload it right there. And then also you can make QR code to look up the guide, and category and category guidelines. You can also make a QR code for the student entry. All those things that can make it easy for them. And if making a QR code or linking something, it's not your expertise. Find somebody who can do that for you. So that's one way to reach out to the communities and also other parents to get involved in the reflections program. So don't feel like you have to do it all. Just leave it up to somebody expert in that area. Okay, so great things with the technology and everything, but let's make sure that we are moving on the accordingly to make the January 15th deadline. Where do we find it? We can always check the checklist. So you can find it. All right. So the checklist is also on the leaders resource as well. This is very underutilized. So we really would like to push this and encourage everybody, because not everybody wants to create an art, but they might be a great catchphrase maker. So all students have a chance to enter this one. So theme search. So currently National PTA is accepting 2023-2024 theme. So go visit our website, Texas PTA Reflections, and then you can find the details. We will, Texas PTA sends 5 themes, is that correct, Carrie? To national level. Oh, Carrie, you are muted.
Yes, we sent 5.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the deadline to submission is November 5. So, and then I believe this reflection theme search entry form, it's all online, right? The student can just go themselves to fill the form. Is that correct, Carrie?
Correct. And they submit their themes right in there. They can do more than one in the form. And then if it runs out of space, they just submit another form. There's no minimum or maximum theme suggestions.
Yeah, that's great. So, you know, a lot of times that it discourages students to go through the reflection, participate in the reflections program procedure, because you have to do this. But this one, they can just do it on the phone or on the computer. So it's really easy access for them. So encourage them and utilize these opportunities.
And it's time for another Texas win. We haven't had a win since Heroes Around Me was the last Texas theme.
Oh, yeah.
That won.
Yeah.
So it's time for another one.
That's right. Not many years ago. And those students who have been chosen, they will receive award prizes. Also, then get to, I think, invited to National PTA convention, correct?
Yes, they get $100 from National PTA.
Yeah, so it is exciting for all the students and the families. All right, once again, remind the locals that the program eligibility, it is important that as the council level, make sure to remind local levels to be on top of active status. So active status has to be earned by October 31st. And then, so here it is, PTA who are not in a good standing may affect the student's eligibility to receive award from Texas PTA.
So anyone new to PTA who doesn't know what active status means, that means a PTA has to have at least 20 members on file with Texas PTA, and that they have to have at least one board, one of their leaders, local leaders registered with Texas PTA. So we know how to get a hold of them. And they have to do that by October 31st to participate in the reflections program at the state and the and national level. They can, if they miss that deadline, they can still have the program at their school, and they can even advance to council. They just can't come to state. Good standing, we've never had a PTA go that far to affect awards. We will definitely work with the PTA to get them into good standing. Good standing means that they've first achieved active status, and then they need to file their 990 each year, and they have to re-up their bylaws and standing rules every 3 years. So that's how they achieve those. And you can read more about it on that webpage, the Standards of Continuing Affiliation, or just email us if you have questions.
Thank you, Carrie. I saw Jermaine raising hands.
Yes, ma'am. Is the PowerPoint available? Are we going to be able to get the PowerPoint? Because the arson chairperson that we have was not able to attend.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes.
And I'm recording this as well, so we can post the recording on the website.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks for asking. All right. Okay. Thank you, Carrie. Here is again another reminder that we need to make sure that we council level also make sure as well. When the submission comes in at the council level, we'll make sure that local level, by that time, we would like to think the local chairs has already took care of the membership part. But sometimes it shows up at the council level that the student's eligibility of being a member is not filled or not fulfilled or confirmed. So we're going to communicate with the council, the local level, that they will have to work with the membership VP to make sure that each of the students who participated and filled out the student entry form, it has this part done. If they are not member, that's not the end of the story. the local chair can go and talk to the families that if they're interested in supporting the program, and also the PTA as well. So at the council level, we're going to make sure to have this part looked at. The local level, local chair has to contact the BP, and when the families or the student belong to the started becoming the members, their dates, and if already confirmed, the school's eligibility as well, their good standing, active standing. So that's where this part is. Okay, all right, moving along. Okay, so as again, local PTA can also, collect the entries digitally as well. If you like to, many of you already have done it last year, and if you haven't, there are many great ways to collect it. Somebody is sharing that, somebody shared it that you could, collect your entries through Google form, or you could physically set up the mailbox or some box to collect it. So different ways to collect it. One thing we did last year at my district was that I teamed up with another chair, and she and I lived in different parts of the district. So we just collected it separately, and we let each local chairs to choose which location they want to come, and then we made certain windows to sign up sheet, and then we collected it that way. All right. Okay, so again, this is the difference between local level and the council level when it comes to the special artist division. At the local level, their submission is from each of the grade level. However, at the council level, when you are advancing the entries to the state level, you are choosing one entry from I get confused there. One entry is from each grade level, right? Throughout the category. Am I saying it right?
It should have said one entry from each category. So you're going to send one dance, one film.
Okay.
One, yeah.
Okay, so throughout all grades combined. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So not each grade. So so this wording is not
So
right.
one entry from each category.
Each category.
So just remove grade level.
Yeah. So
that's how the local PTAs do it. Yes. And we do have a hand raised. Oh, it went away. Charlotte?
Oh, Charlotte. Yeah.
It was me. I was just asking for clarification. So one entry per each category. So if you're looking from the council level at, let's say, K through second had 2 dance and intermediate had a visual. If you're looking at, or a visual and a dance, right? If you're looking at it like that, then you can only pick one dance from all those grade categories for special.
Correct. You should judge all the dance K through 12 all together. The reason that is done that way is because you might have more entries at the local level, but as it advanced to council, state, and national, we barely have one entry at those levels. So, and some of the categories. And so there's not enough to break it out to judge just the primary dance, just the intermediate dance, and the special artist division.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So that's at the council level. But when you are reminding the local level can still choose one entries from each category and each grade division. So they have more choices. Okay, any other question? Yes, Sherry? Sherry?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So my question, I'm not the arts and education chair, but I am on council and I'm trying to, get some information at this meeting since our, chair could not be here. But is this like for special education, or is this like in general period? Because I just see special artist division and I didn't understand.
This only pertains
Okay.
to the special artist division.
Okay, so this would be information given to like a special education teacher for like to pass out to those families?
There is a set of rules and accommodations for the special artist division that where like someone could hold the camera for them if they're not able to hold the camera. So look for those guidelines in the rules when you're on our website looking at the different documents to download.
Okay.
There's a separate one for the special artist.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. And that's anyone who has a 504 or falls under that as a qualifies under Americans with Disabilities Act. And we're not going to ask for proof. We're just going to, if they select that, we're just going to go with it, because it could be anything. It could be dyslexia. It could be literally anything under the sun, and we're not going to ask them to prove that.
Yeah. So yeah, we you could give those guidelines to the SPED teachers, but they have their the everyday daily teaching and so forth. So all we have to do is to just encourage them to participate in the program, and then we can take care of the rest of them. So, but the special artist category is those who are in the 504. Okay. All right. So as you know, there are 6 categories of art categories. At the council level, we will see all 6. But at the local level, if the school choose to do only 1 or 2 categories, that is okay. It's a lot of going on. If they just want to do dance categories, I think that's fabulous. That's okay. As long as I'm just happy that the program is going. Okay, so I would like to talk a little bit about details of the categories. Some of them are kind of confusing, so here it is. So first one is the visual art. Everything is in the guidelines, so but I just wanted to highlight some of the rules. Any thickness is great, but please discourage chairs to allow parents, families to put their entries in a frame. It doesn't survive. It's heavy also for those locals. I mean, the council to have to send it to the Texas PTA. And also if there's glass or something, it's not safe either. And because frame doesn't count, be a part of the point toward the judging. Okay, so the film and the music, we're gonna talk a little bit more about that shortly. But the creator of the film has to be the director and the videographer. So no film, the parents taping the kids, not taping, recording. Okay, so the voice is an instrument. A lot of times that the kids are eager to play their violins and pianos and so forth. It's great that they pick up the ukulele and guitar to start singing. But please make sure to encourage local chairs to remind students that they all have an instrument. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was whistle. There are professional whistlers in the United States and worldwide, throughout the world. So whistle is another great instrument. Music composition is the composing the music. So somebody can compose the music and they can have family members to sing along, or they can have different, people to whistle, to harmonize. There are many ways to participate in this category. Okay, it's a collage or montage. We're gonna talk about that. Literature entries. Illustration doesn't really count toward the judging, just like do not judge by the cover of the book. Well, we will not judge by the illustration of the, the stories. So the story itself is what counts. Okay, and the dance category, the choreographer, again, doesn't have to be a dancer. Somebody can choreograph and have dad and mom dance along. That's the one way to participate in the program. So we talked about photography, and we can talk about the photography or visual art. So it is, we're looking at the 2D dimensional form. So then, I'm sorry, here is the drawings. It doesn't have, so the macaronis and the bees, they are not allowed because it has the height. However, if they want to use the ribbons, we saw some entries made out of materials. That's perfectly fine. So there will be lots of creativity there. However, the dimension is, again, it's in the guideline, but not too huge. 24 by 30 is the maximum size. All right. Again, some of the entries we see is the wrapping in a beautiful clear plastic or cellophane. We do not encourage that. We just like simply, if you are advancing to when it's advancing to the state level, just the simple butchered paper covering is the best. Okay, we saw somebody raising a hand, is that right?
Yes, that's me. I have a question.
Yes,
Do you know if in the future this visual arts category can be divided in visual arts made by hand, like a beautiful drawing, and another category for digital art, like one thing made by hand, another one made by the computer? Do you think that is going to be maybe in the future a way to divide it in both?
That's a good question, because it is always difficult to judge between the two. However, I would like, to remind everybody that the Reflections program is heavily value the interpretation of the artwork, interpretation of the theme itself. So I understand that the difference between the two, and wanted to divide, but as the whole, as the visual art, and then looking at their interpretation of the theme, I think the focus should be there than actually dividing in the two. So what do you think, Carrie?
I don't think that National is going to divide them, because they even added 3D to the visual arts, which Texas has not gone down that road. We want them to split that out. We want a 3D and a 2D, because how can you judge a wind chime against a beautiful painting? I mean, that's even harder than the digital. But these rules come from National, and I don't know that they're going to split them out, digital and handcrafted, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good point. And I'm sure we will see a lot more creation that way. It's just because, it's a sign of time. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, here is another one, photography or visual art. How is it different? Because they are both made out of photography, photos. Okay, so here is a photographic collage on the left side, which is like a no scene, many photos printed on a one page, one flat photos. On right side, it's the oh, I'm sorry. It's the many pictures that are pasted in on that flat. So there are many pictures on it. On the right side, the different type of people. It's a manipulated photos that it's printed on a one sheet of photo paper. So if it's printed that way, that's already that's a photography. It's a photo montage. So that's the difference. If it's glued on and then it's a separate pictures, that is the visual art, even though it's based on the photography. But if it's the one seamless photos, and that's a photography. Any question about this one? It's kind of tricky because I know that it's a photography. So we see they mark category as a photography. But if you happen to see that entries, what I usually do is, your students' entries is at the council level, that's a great thing, but we're just going to change it because of this rule. We're going to change the category, but that doesn't change the fact that the student entries are at the council level. Any questions? All right, moving on. So here's the music composition. All the middle schoolers and high school, they do have to create the music notation. And again, don't forget to remind the locals that there are all types of music, styles of music and instruments are welcomed, including, they can use the house kitchen items and so forth like that. Well, how do we write the notation? So that's the part that we want to talk about. Let me see if I where my cursor. Okay. So the notation can be such as guitar. So here it is, the accepted notation. One is the tradition written like a notation that we are familiar with. And there is something called a tab, like a guitar, they put like a chording. So instead of 5 lines, as you can see at the bottom, tab is 6 lines. That's exactly how many strings are on the guitar. So they just put those on there. Those are just fine. Well, okay, some student decided to bang the pots and pans and they're singing along. So those those students can write the reason, how their music relates to the theme and how they decided to make. So written reflective statement is also acceptable as well. This program is an inclusive program, so we don't want to turn anybody away. If they are done the work, if they want to participate and submit, do encourage everybody. Okay, some time ago we had a rap musician enter, and how do you notate those? But he wrote down the words and explained it that how that wording and the rapping relates to the theme, and that's perfectly fine. Any other thoughts or ideas, anybody? Or Carrie? All right.
No, I think that explained it very well.
All right, so moving on, film production. Again, screenwriting and directing and editing must be done by the student producer. I started seeing that many of them just self kind of recording. That's great too, but I think we like to encourage them to use friends and families to, to like a community work. So they are the director. Just do it yourself is easier, and that's great too. But we also like to encourage that many more students involved in their product. And they do have to note their music, or if they use some music that has been recorded already, they have to use that. PowerPoint representation is not the film production, so that is not a part of that. Okay, so organizing judging. Let's talk about okay, how are we doing the time? Okay, we have a half an hour. Okay, so this is what the local chairs will be filling out, right? And then they will submit it, and then submit it to the Texas PTA, and then you receive this advancing spreadsheet. Okay. Carrie, would you like to present this part, or you want me to just go ahead?
Sure. So for preparing submissions for the judges, the way I do it at the state level is I collect the artwork and then I just separate it into the different judging groups. So I have all the primary dance together, all the intermediate dance together, and that's how you're going to judge it. You're going to judge all the primary dance. And from that judging group, you're going to select one to go forward. And you'll do that with all the different arts categories. Blind judging, you really want to consider that more at the local level because you're closer to the student. So they might know someone like a judge. If you select a judge from their school, they might be able to know what student that came from, what artwork they might recognize the handwriting. So you want to try and look outside of your school community, maybe even next community over. If you're doing judging digitally, you could literally have anyone in the world be judging because they're just looking at it digitally. They don't have to come and be there physically. So blind judging, as you get further and further away from the student, it becomes less of important because it's less chance that they'll actually know the student it came from. So at the council level, you may not even run into that either. But at the local level, you want to encourage them to look outside of their school, not use their art teacher, maybe switch art teachers with the neighboring school, trade judges. I'll judge yours, you judge mine type of thing. Let's see, the title of our work is required because a lot of times the title and the artist statement is what's going to drive home that connection to the theme. So if those come to you and they're blank, then I would reach out to the student and really encourage them to complete that information. Even just dictating it and you add it to the form is fine. And then citing the background music and noting any artist's work that they have used is very important, and the entry details. Have I forgotten anything?
Yeah, just wanted to, going back to the digital judging, that worked out really beautifully, and I think it's the part of the positiveness of this during the COVID was that we really could utilize the judges from different parts of the world. I mean, world and then also state. So that was just worked out really, really good. Okay, here is the volunteer. We just talked about that. Okay, so even at the council level, so Carrie, at the state level, we usually have more than, one judges, right, for the category.
We do, and then I kind of take their scores and look at the percentage of how they judged. And if I have any questions, I just go back to the judges and say, these were the top ones. Can you select one that needs to go forward to the national level? So just work with your judges. It's nice to have 2 or 3 judges. If you can only get one and you have a small amount of work, to move forward with the one. You don't want to hold it up searching for another judge. So, and you can ask judges if they know multiple different categories, they can judge more than one category, especially if it's not too many. You don't want to overload the judge because they're volunteers. So
Yeah, that's true. And again, that I see some around my neighborhood, there are different retired community are being built, like apartments and some big communities, and those are the great place to actually you can plug in. They community volunteers, and many of them are retired teachers or artists, so they will love to do that. And once you ask one person, I'm sure you can find several from the same complex, same community, and they can spread the word by mouth, and there you go, you have 2 or 3 or maybe 5 judges from there. So again, another one is the important part is at the council level. Some council, I hear that they have like city mayor come in and judge, and mayor staff, they look forward to do judging every year. So that really gives you a credential, really power up the program itself. So if you if you have a connection, or if you want to build that connection with the community, it's a great way to spread what the PTA is all about too. So just an idea. Finding the judges, this is my personal experience that I searched somebody that who specialized in a certain areas. That in my case it was the film, and he was the super experienced professional. However, this person didn't have really understanding of child's mind, so that was really made it more difficult to have a judging going. So when you ask somebody, make sure that this person understands the children's point of view and not only the technical part. So just a reminder. Okay. Yes, we do have these resources of the utilizing digital judging ideas. So be sure to visit that too. There are many more ideas. Okay, so once again, just a reminder that the judging should be done. The 20 points is suggested. The point that the total of 40. The interpretation of the theme is very important. Not judges by the cover of the book. Okay. This is from National PTA. If you really want to make sure how the judges, if judges like, okay, should I give 20 or 18, so, but this is just a, what do you call this, like guidelines that how they can decide the points. So if you go to National PTA, they have this rubric in a judging packet. So you could give the judges as a guide, especially if you're doing it in the digitally, you can provide this along with whatever the entries that you are sharing, like the literature or films and so forth like that. However, there is the scientific research when professor grade student, if they go by their feel of it, okay, the students throughout the semester, it's about 85, and then the one professor does the very detailed recorded. It came out about the same, so it has something to say about our intuition, but it is fair to have what guidelines that the judges are judging and giving the points. So, okay. Here is the chart of the award level. Okay, so Carrie, can you remind us how this all works?
Yes, and one word to change instead of categories under the council, it should be grade levels.
Oh.
Across all grade levels. Yeah.
Yes.
So send one film, one dance, one literature. So the local level is going to send to that they're going to select the top 20% to advance to the council level. And the way they calculate that is they look at the judging group, they'll look at primary visual arts and calculate 20% from that. Because if you do just a general 20% of all the entries across all of the categories, it's going to give them a lower number. And it's important to just send as many as possible. So if you look at primary visual arts, 20%, maybe it's they get to advance 5.2. If it's even you want to round up, even if it's 0.1 or 2, round up to the next. So they would send 6 to the council level. And then the other award levels are up to them. They could do 30%, 40%. They could get rid of the participation level altogether. It's really how they want to run their program. And then the council, you're going to select one from each category and one special artist across the grade level. So a council could send up to 30 to the state level. And you can't interchange. So if you don't have a special artist dance, then you would just not send anything for that. Missing a D under the send.
Oh.
Typing on the fly. Does anyone have any questions about how entries advance from level to level? No? And then when we select ours at the state level, we're doing the same thing you're doing. We can only select one from each category and one special artist to go to the national level.
So I would like to kind of share my experience that you've probably seen this happening, that the middle school, high school, especially high school level, the participation gets really low. Well, at least my district. So we really wanted to celebrate their participation. So we really got rid of the participation award. And then high school level, that those who had received, not quite high enough for the award of merit, we gave honorable mention to all high school entries that those who didn't receive award of merit. So celebrate their participation.
We do the same thing at the state level with the special artist. We don't give any of them a participation. All of them are honorable mention and up because there's just not enough of them. So we want to honor them all.
All right, so let's move on. Okay, so this is for the council. It takes usually 45 to 60 minutes, but somebody's great idea might shorten the time. So, but just generally, this is how much time that it takes. So make sure you have a good, your favorite drink and maybe snacks to make your job easy. You just have to commit to get this done.
Right. Yeah, if you're organized, then it'll go much faster. And definitely if you're a strong typer. And I've made some changes this year, whereas I was accepting the digital entries through this form, and it really bogged down the data entry part and advancing. So now I'm just letting y'all upload to a Google Drive and put this form back to what it was, where you're just sending me the data for the students. And then you can send me the digital entries through Google. I think that'll really streamline and help y'all send me the entries this year.
Yeah, well, thank you. Okay. Here is the council and regional results summary looks like on the page. That will become available in December. Okay. All right. So yeah, again, at the council level, make sure that you enter all the necessary information and upload it.
And this is due at the same time your entries are due by January 15th.
Okay. Yes, lastly, I wanted to talk about this. There are so many things happening and we don't think about it because we started in August, September, and then, we are still working at council level, working through the spring to make sure that the students are recognized. Well, so as the local level has to keep up with what's happening at the council level, and maybe at the local level, once the reflections program is over, they might do something different art program. We have done my council have came up with an idea of a poetry month contest or family, not family, like a fun art, like a copy from the famous art and then recreating the famous art kind of contest. So there are many different ideas that you can have a student engage in the arts throughout the year. The National PTA Award and Grant of School of Excellence. A lot of times we feel like we have to create a new program, but reflections program is already there. Many of the local chairs have been working throughout the school year. So please do remind them that a school of excellence that it can earn through running the reflections and arts in education program. So just wanted to remind you that. Here are some of the summaries of that, highlights that the reflections program happening. Another one is the September 27th is coming up, but the Mary Lou Anderson, the founder of the reflection program, the grant is available through National PTA. You can go visit National PTA Award and Grants pages to find more about it, but $1,000 will be donated to the local school to promote the arts in education. Again, we have the windows were closed, but the PTA, doors were closed, but the windows are open by PTA. Once again, we are doing that. So thank you for being a part of that opening the window. Again, another opportunity, talking about the opportunity, I think I had shared it with you last year. This guy, I don't know, anybody is the TikTokers. So this person, Julian Bass, he is the TikToker, the 1 million followers. Well, how did he started this short film that he's making on a TikTok? He started through reflections program. He said that reflection program was his exercising stage, and he didn't realize what would have led to. His parents reminded him every year the deadline of the reflections program, and he made a film. 8th graders and senior year, his entries went on to the national program, and now he is the TikTok guru, and he got called by Disney's and all other famous, film production. So reflection had given a student the opportunity to excel what they love do most. So make sure that we'll encourage local leaders to, include arts in education on their campus. Okay. All right. So any questions and idea sharing? And Carrie gonna be sending you the survey for this presentation. So be sure to respond those survey. We would like to make an improvement and make it easier for everybody for, in the future. So we are doing this all together. Without your leadership, this program doesn't exist. So I thank you so much. We really thank you so much for stepping up to lead and take care of this program. And also thank you for those who are attending on behalf of your Arts in Education Chair, Reflection Chair. I thank you so much for your teamwork and commitment. And thank you for those who had participated. If you are local leaders, spread the word. It's a great program. You will love running this program, and you're gonna come back next year to lead again. So anybody else? Carrie,
And
do you have
I'll send
anything?
out any resources. Jeanette already shared the fill-in forms with me, so any
Great.
resources that anyone sends me, I'll combine and add to that survey email with you guys.
Okay, thank you. Well, if nothing else, we will. So did everybody ask questions? Please don't be shy. We'd like to make sure to take care of you here. So
And we're always
there's
available for
none,
email. So if you don't
yes.
want to unmute
Yeah.
here, you can always
That's
email
right.
us
Yeah.
or
understand.
call us.
Right. Okay. So if nothing else, then we would let you enjoy the rest of this afternoon. So thank you again for coming. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing the entries from your area. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
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 Guys.